John, if I have any technical difficulties tonight, if there are technical difficulties, I will be able to come back around. I'll come back by phone, but it's good to hear I'm doing okay on your end. We good? Very good. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the January 25th meeting of the Lawrence City Council Personnel Subcommittee meeting. My name is Dave Abdo, I'm your chairman, and I'm joined this evening by longstanding member and district councilor from District A, Maria Dela Cruz, as well as District C, new district city council from District C, new but returning. So he's a veteran, Mr. Jorge George Gonzalez. Welcome, sir.
Hi, sir. Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
And I see we are joined this evening by Ms. Vivian Marmol and Ms. Brenda Rossi, who are candidates for the Greater Lawrence Technical School System. I want to thank the ladies for joining us this evening. And a thanks to Ms. Maria Halloran. Bear with me, I am reaching for the legal stuff, as I call it. Before we start this meeting officially, I must read you all the necessary legal language that allows us to conduct this meeting in public via remote technology as the pandemic dictates. Pursuant to Governor Baker's March 12, 2020 order suspending certain provisions of the open meeting laws, General Law Chapter 30A, Section 18, and the Governor's March 15, 2020 order imposing strict limitations on the number of people that may gather in one place, this public meeting of the Lawrence City Council for the City of Lawrence, this being the Personnel Committee, is being conducted via remote participation. No in-person attendance by members of the public will be permitted, but the public can listen and or view this meeting while in progress by the use of Facebook, Zoom, and YouTube web access site references and the public agenda that was posted per the public meeting laws. Members of the public attending this meeting virtually will be allowed to make comments if they wish to do so during the portion of the hearings designated for public comment by use of the web and phone access provided below. When we get to those portions of the meeting, those from the general public and our invited guests, I will go through those instructions at that time. But at this moment, I would ask that everyone stand for the Pledge of Allegiance as we start every meeting. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. Thank you. I am going to not start with the minutes. I'm going to get right to the Greater Lawrence Technical School Committee. This evening we have two candidates. The City Council has asked us to take this agenda item and speak with our invited guests this evening as to their desires to serve the public. This seat, the Greater Lawrence Technical School seat, was vacated last summer by Ms. Stephanie Infante, and as required by charter, the Lawrence City Council will meet with the Lawrence, the LAE, which is the oversight board that is the governance board along with our school committee. We will join, as the chairman mentioned last week, on Thursday evening in a special meeting to have a final vote as to whom will fill the remainder of the empty Greater Lawrence Technical School seat. This evening, for those at home and those attending, we will speak with both candidates, and at the conclusion, it will be up to members of this board as to either, you have three options. We can send an individual up with a recommendation of this committee. We can send both individuals up with a recommendation, or we can just send it up with no recommendation, leaving that to the full city council on Thursday evening at 7 p.m. So with that said, I would ask that if are there any questions at this time of members or invited guests? Hearing none. Maria, excuse me, Ms. Halloran, our clerk this evening, if you would you please, for the record, state what the agenda item is for this item, and if there is any differentiation between the two candidates to determine who would go first. If not, I guess I will just pick it randomly. Ms. Halloran?
No, it just says document 12420, resignation of Stephanie Infante, Greater Lawrence Tech School Committee joint session with the Lawrence Education Alliance.
Okay,
That's what
so then I will, by the preference of the chair, I'll just go with, I understand now that Ms. Marmol is having some technical difficulties. So with that, it will make my decision easier, and we will start with Ms. Rossi this evening. Ms. Rossi, thank you for joining us this evening.
Thank you, Councilor Abdu.
If you would, I would ask that you state your name and your address for the public record, and then further ask that you introduce yourself to our members and tell us why you're here this evening.
Okay, my name is Brenda Rossi, and I reside at 127 Chester Street in Lawrence. I have been a resident of the city of Lawrence all my life, so and I am running because I have a granddaughter who is a junior at the vocational school. She is autistic, she has ADHD, and she has DeGeorge syndrome. So watching this remote learning is just, it's a nightmare. And I feel that these special needs students need to be in a classroom. They need to be with a teacher. And when I ran about a year or so ago, I ran for her, because I am her advocate, I am her guardian, and I want to be there for her. And among people know me, I'm on the planning, I'm a voting member of the planning board. I'm president of the Southwest Lawrence Neighborhood Association. I'm a member of LNAP. Board of directors, Lawrence High School Alumni Association. So I am active in the city. And if I am nominated or elected, I plan on Friday morning to start running first thing down City Hall, get sworn in, and be at the vocational school by 9:30 to start working.
Well, thank you. Thank you. And at this time, I will now turn it over to my fellow members to ask questions of Ms. Rossi, and I will start by virtue of seniority and ladies first. Councilor Dela Cruz, do you have questions of our first candidate this evening?
Thank you, Mr. Councilor Abdu. I was reading about all the requests that the vocational school has to bring a member who really wanted to volunteer, who really wanted to participate and support the school decisions. It's a lot. The chapter 330, it says a lot of requirement. For example, it have to be, and they have to go in front of the city council, 9 members of the city council plus 7 members of the board. And, they make it very hard for people who really wanted to participate, for people who really wanted to volunteer, for people who really wanted to engage in the community. Then I think we should review that chapter 330. And, maybe one day we can change that, because I think it's a lot of requirements for somebody who really wanted to serve. Whoever is going to serve is going to do it with love, because this is a job that is not paid. It's not a paid job, but the requirements are very high standards. And I think we should start thinking about making changes to those kind of ordinance, which will make it more easy for people who wanted to dedicate time to volunteer in our community. Then I don't have a question for the candidates because I know and I expect to see that they're going to do the best for their schools, and they're going to be dedicating and volunteering a lot of their time. Then I would like to say thank you to both of them for having the initiative to take that load on their shoulders. Then I would like to pass my I don't have any question at this moment, but I'm just thanking both of them for dedicating time to the city of Lawrence. Thank you.
Thank you, Counselor. Counselor Gonzalez, do you have questions for the candidates?
No, sir, but as an ex-school committee member, I served in a school committee for 4 years. I understand the two ladies because I wrote what they today what I have in my they give it to me, the secretary. And like I say, I have served in the school committee for 4 years, and the vote once you serve the community, like my colleagues, Maria de la Cruz said, it's not a paying job, but they volunteer they want to serve in the school. And I know it's not easy because family involved, everything involved in there when you serve in the school committee. And I praise that they want to serve, and I don't have no questions, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Gonzalez. I would note that Ms. Marmol is trying to join, and I do appreciate everybody's patience, and Ms. Razi, you as well. Ms. Razi, if you would, to follow up on your statement regarding your involvement at the school, can you talk to us about, you touched on it a bit, where do you think the representative for Lawrence can make the greatest impact on the Greater Lawrence Technical School Committee?
Having a child in the school is talking to other parents and being more engaged and being out there, being able to put yourself out there to talk to the parents, to be engaged with the administration at the school. And I want to be part of this. Like I said, I am watching frustration. I am watching the meltdowns. And these special need children need to be in a classroom. They can't be doing remote. And I've been advocating for quite a while. And I will be the first one. The minute they say they can go back to school, she will be the first one in that door, because we can't just let her just sit there and have meltdowns all the time. And I want to be able to work with the school, be able to be a part of the growth of the school. You know, I wasn't a graduate of the vocational school, but my daughter was. She graduated in 1994. So now her daughter is now going there, and hopefully she'll graduate next year, 2022. But I want to be part of this growth. I want to be part of the school. I want to be part of watching what's happening at the school. But I also want to be part of the parents being able to contact me if they have problems. And I know that's one thing, a lot of things with school committee parents just don't get involved. But I want, I do want to get involved with them.
Councilor, I have a question for Ms. Rogers.
Councilor De La Cruz, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Council President. My question is, how many children the vocational school hold in a classroom, in the special needs classroom? How many kids?
My granddaughter's classes, I know her graphic communications class is only 3 kids. There's up to 12, there's up to, I believe, in her classes. But they don't, I know that they're ready to go back. I've seen the plans. I watched the meeting, and these kids are having a hard time. And I've spoken to other special need parents, and they want their children back at school also.
Okay.
Remote learning is, it's hard on these special need kids. I see her getting up and pacing because she can't focus.
Thank you, Ms. Raji, for your answer.
Thank you, Councilor Dela Cruz. Did you have a follow-up, Maria?
No, what I wanted to say that a small setting for special needs is always the best because, more than 12 special needs kids in one classroom, it shouldn't be recommended. Then, as you know, kids today, they don't know how to do the social distance. They forget about it. They keep forgetting that they have to be 6 feet apart from each other. And they keep forgetting about putting their mask, and they keep forgetting about using their sanitizer. It's really tough to bring these kids back and to see them getting sick. Then it should be a plan, but how risky it is for every kid in. Remember that regular classroom, they have more than 20 kids in a class.
Thank you, Counselor.
Thank you.
And I would just for my own edification, either to you, Counselor Dela Cruz, or to the candidate, Ms. Rossi, how many kids are typically in a classroom versus, under normal circumstances, how many kids are in a classroom, and how many kids would be in or students would be in a classroom where special emphasis needed to be paid to students? Special education emphasis.
I think there's up to 12 to a special ed classroom. And I know that they've fixed the rooms up so there wouldn't be any more than that. They've done the cafeteria over, they've taken some of the gymnasium over for lunches. And I think they want to start off with the special ed kids first and get them going, and then gradually start bringing more of the kids in.
Thank you, I appreciate that. So, question, now in a God willing, as we proceed through this calendar year, we're going to be in a non-COVID situation, and it may not happen this semester, but in the fall, when hopefully the children all return to school, is there any, do you have any visions or priorities overall that are not COVID specific? Ms. Rossi.
Well, I would like to see with the graphics communications department to add more teachers, because she's missed out on one teacher for 2 years. They need to add another teacher into that program. I've seen, I've watched her struggling with a lot of, with her IEP and just not being able to get some of the services that she needs. And I think she needs to, we need, and I'm not the only, person with the child with IEP, obviously. And I think we need to work together with the school to make sure that each child has what they need in the way of, between the teachers and the learning and what is available. Because right now there's not a lot for them to do, and I feel bad because she can't. I know, and I'm saying her, but I spoke to other parents that their children are having a really hard time with this remote learning. So I know Lawrence Public Schools have gone back to school. I think the vocational schools should also be going back to school, special ed children. Because I think they're losing so much by not being with the teacher.
Thank you, Ms. Rossi. No, go ahead. I'm sorry, I cut you off. My apologies.
Oh, I said, computer, remote learning is just not doing it for these kids. And I think
No,
we're losing a lot of kids too. And we're losing a lot of kids because, if your parents aren't home watching you do schoolwork, you're not doing schoolwork. And I've heard this not just from other parents too, because parents are working and the kids who are supposed to be doing work are not. So we're losing a lot of these kids that way also.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that, Ms. Rossi. That was a very full answer to my question. I appreciate that. Thank you. I do not at this time have further questions for Ms. Rossi. I would ask my colleagues if they have further questions. If not, I will open the floor to Ms. Marmol. Seeing no questions from Mr. Gonzalez or Ms. Dela Cruz, I would thank Ms. Rossi, and please stand by for any follow-up questions before we complete our dialogue this evening on this agenda item. And I want to thank you, A, for your time. I want to thank you for your involvement already with the Greater Lawrence Technical School Committee and the aforementioned work that your contributions to the community, which was stated in the beginning, which I know we all appreciate. So thank you for your time. Thank you for your service to our community.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And with that, I would like to introduce and welcome Ms. Vivian Marmol. And I would like to start by asking her if she can hear us and if we have an open line of communication.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am. We can hear you well, Vivian. Thank you.
Thank you. I could hear you as well. I would just like to start off by saying good afternoon and thanking you all for the opportunity to come before you in order for me to express my interest to serve and to fill the vacated seat at Greater Lawrence Tech. I'm open to answering any questions that may help you clarify my intent to serve.
Well, thank you. Appreciate that. And I guess what I will do is, as a standard of the Personnel Committee, we do have the backup materials. We have the ability to look at your application and whatnot. So how I usually like to start is by asking candidates, first of all, I'm obligated to ask you to state your name and your address for the record. And then I would ask that you introduce yourself to us. Tell us why you want to be selected to finish out the remainder of this vacant seat, and what your priorities would be, and what you would do over the next 10 or 11 months until the next election. Give us your ideas and your plan. So with that, I would turn it over to you. And when you're done, we will ask questions.
Okay. So my name is Vivian Marmol. I reside at 341 Water Street, Lawrence, Mass. 01841. I want to start off by saying that as a former graduate and also having a sister who is a freshman at the school is just one of the reasons why I would love to give back and contribute to the school that pretty much lay the foundation for me to become a great asset to the many employers and positions that I've held throughout the years. I'm in a position right now to be impactful in making decisions that will have an effect at this time to the students and the community. I'll state that my my technical training was in business technology, and that has allowed me to have so many amazing opportunities, which at this point, I just want to inspire students with my experience. I want to, with what's left in the term, I would love to initiate a platform for teachers to be part of the solution. As school committee members, we're not privy to many issues. And since they are part of the day-to-day operations, they know what's going on, they spend the most time with the students. I think it would be amazing to have them be on board and have us, pick their brain, so to speak, as to what's going on and reveal underlying issues that as school committee members, it's important for us to know what's going on. If there's unhappy teachers, we have disengaged students, and it's important for us to give them the space to speak with full transparency with school committee members. I had sought elective office in our last municipal election, to which I came in fourth place, garnering 1,895 votes. And although I wasn't successful, I didn't see it as defeat. I'm proud of the results, and I saw it as an achievement. And it was an opportunity for me to get to know the school better, get to be more in touch with the community and city council officials. Because at the end of the day, I think we all need to work together for the ultimate success of the school. I could go on and on, so I rather just open the floor for you guys to potentially ask me questions as to what goals and initiatives I would bring to the table.
Well, thank you, Ms. Marwell. Appreciate your opening statement, and also appreciate yourself as well as Ms. Rossi. Both of you stood for election last year, and that speaks to your character, both of you. We do appreciate having people involved in the community, especially at a time like this. So thank you for your comments and sharing with us about your younger sister. And at this time, I would, as I did with the previous candidate, ask my colleagues if there are questions of Ms. Marmol, and I do see a hand up from Councilor Dela Cruz. I yield the floor to Ms. Dela Cruz.
Yes, thank you, Dora Dune. Vivian, I said before you get connected with us, I was saying that thank you to you and Ms. Rosie for volunteering. I know how it is to volunteer and how it is to dedicate time, especially when you have a job and a family to take care of. As well, I have a question. I'm worried about parents' engagement in the community. What are you planning to do to engage more parents to be more active at the school and the decision-making for the Department of Education, especially at the vocational school?
I think we've made strides with streaming the school committee meetings, but I think we have the opportunity to improve on that. And I say that by giving having the goal that we could potentially send text links to parents, informing them of these meetings. Not every parent is, they don't have a Facebook profile, they don't have a laptop, so it allows for them to connect to these meetings via text message. It will be more accessible to them. Every parent has different schedules, work schedules. Some of them may be potentially working during the times of these meetings. So it would just give them the opportunity to just be connected to the school. Call me crazy, but I also have a vision of, I would love to see a Lawrence campus, Greater Lawrence Tech Lawrence campus. As to what degree, I feel like we still have time to kind of fill in the blanks as to how it would work. But whether it would be a Lawrence campus to serve parents, to serve students, to serve alumni, offering services, whether it's refresher courses for parents or refresher courses for graduates. I feel like those are ways that we could potentially have a connection with parent involvement and bringing the community all in one together.
The parents are the owner of the schools, and they don't know that. Most parents don't know that they own the school because they are the taxpayer paying for their children's education, even though that we call it public schools. But they don't have a voice. Parents don't have a voice. What are you going to do? Bring parents on board, have a voice.
I understand the importance, especially given the fact that, approximately 84%, if I'm not mistaken, of the student body comes from the city of Lawrence, which we are, Lawrence is the community that pays more per student than any other serving community, and we stand to gain the most. So I understand the importance of having parents understand the value that the school has for our community. So whether it's sending newsletters, whether it's creating more events that are geared towards parents to have them more involved, I'm open to discussing other ideas.
Okay, thank you.
No problem.
Thank you, Councilor Dela Cruz. If I could, I'd just like to follow up on a question that Councilor Dela Cruz asked, and to you, Ms. Marmol. Lawrence families pay more per student than do the other communities of the region that support the school?
No, I didn't say
Or are you
Lawrence
just saying that there's more?
families. The city of Lawrence.
But it's proportional to the students that go there, correct? It's tied to the proportion?
Correct. So the city of Lawrence pays more than any other serving community per student. So we stand to gain the most.
Correct. I just for those people at home, the reason we pay more is directly tied to formula. For those at home, it's tied to the number of students from each community that participate at the school. And Lawrence, thankfully, we are this great resource of this school that we are the largest community. Ms. Marmol, thank you for indulging me on that question. Mr. Gonzalez, did you have a question?
No, I just wanted to help, and they as an ex-school committee person, Lawrence pay more because send more students to the book.
Correct.
Thank you. I just didn't want anybody at home to think that we were paying more. We're per se with the proportion, the formula, the more we contribute our children, our future, the more it costs the city of Lawrence and the state who funds the formula. So, are there other questions for Ms. Marmol?
I know. I don't have no question. I know everything, and I'm ready to what you decided to do, and we vote for the best.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Gonzalez. Appreciate that. So with that, thank you, Ms. Marmol, for the one-on-one. I would now ask, are there further questions of either candidate or statements or motions? But I think this is an opportunity. If you had any follow-ups for either candidate, now would be a good time to ask. Otherwise, we'll move on to motions. Any questions? Ms. Dela Cruz, I see your hands up.
Yes, my hand is up. I would like to say that I love the vocational school. It's a beautiful building. Every time that it is money and that we have to vote, I always will vote for money, more money for the vocational school, because I think they need more money to build more space, because at the end, children and parents, they want their kids in vocational schools because with the new era, the kids are being home isolated. When they go back, they will be more engaged in what they do, building, constructing, learning. I had the experience of having 2 students that I mentor to be at the school, and I visited the school again and again, and I'm always so happy of the vocational school. I think it's a great access to the community, to the city, to the Merrimack Valley, and we have to do our best all the time. I think they have a lot of space that we should be building more buildings for them, that we can get more kids engaged in vocational jobs. Then thank you to the 2 of you ladies for wanting to be part of community that is really doing good jobs for our kids. Thank you.
Thank you, Counselor. And if I could just jump off once again, I'm riding Counselor Dela Cruz's coattails tonight. I do. I want to thank once again, Ms. Rossi and Ms. Marmol, for, you made yourself candidates on the ballot last year. Last summer, with the resignation of the member, you stepped up once again and applied. And we thank you for your patience. It's been a bit of a road here. So we thank you for making time on this January evening from home with the technical challenges that can come along with that. So thank you. Thank you for your contributions. Thank you for your patience and indulging us in the questions this evening. And I want to thank my colleagues, Ms. Dela Cruz and Mr. Gonzalez as well. With that, I now, the chair cannot make any motions, but I would turn it over to Councilor Dela Cruz or Councilor Gonzalez if they have any motions to make at this time.
My motion will be to send it to full council with favorable recommendation to elect one of them.
Second.
Okay, so there is a motion by Councilor Dela Cruz. It's been properly seconded by Mr. Gonzalez. And it is to send agenda item 12420 up with a favorable recommendation of either candidate, but with no preference. Did I get that right, Councilor Dela Cruz?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. Is there any discussion on the motion?
Oh, Mr. Adu, I also would like to add that to after the election on Thursday, to void the 30 days because they need to start working right away.
Yes.
And so I heard a motion to, I don't know if the correct term is put an emergency preamble on this, but to suspend the 30 days and make any action by the council Thursday night effective immediately. Is that correct, Ms. Dela Cruz?
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Adu.
No, thank you. And Mr. Gonzalez, you seconded that?
Yes.
Thank you. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, and before I call the roll call, I would ask Ms. Halloran, did you get all of that? Do you have any questions
No,
of
I
those
did.
making the motion?
I got the
Awesome.
motion. Thank you.
Awesome. And with that, I would call a roll call vote. Mr. Gonzalez,
To adjourn?
a motion, a vote on the motion. Your vote on the motion.
Yes.
Councilor Gonzalez votes yes. Councilor Dela Cruz?
Yes.
Councilor Dela Cruz votes yes, and the chair votes yes. So with that, again, want to thank the ladies this evening for their time. I would invite them back Thursday evening for a special meeting of the Lawrence City Council, the entire Lawrence City Council, Thursday evening at 7 p.m. Information will be put out in the next 48 hours with respect to contact and dial-in and all that good stuff. And I would ask that you make yourself available at 7 o'clock. The chair will call at that time. You are the only agenda item. And considering that this committee just sent you both up with a favorable recommendation, I would anticipate similar questions, similar format where you'll introduce yourself, give your name and record for the name and address for the record, and then answer questions of the entire council. You'll probably want to, once again, just prepare a statement as to why you are here and what you might plan to do if selected. So Are there any questions by the candidates regarding process from here?
No, thank you.
All right, seeing none, I would thank Ms. Rossi and Ms. Marmol, and we look forward to seeing you Thursday evening at 7 p.m.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Councilors, the next item on our agenda is agenda item number 1021, permanent, let me make sure I get it right, permanent city council position put on the agenda by Councilor LaPlante. I
City
see
clerk.
we say again?
You said city council, city clerk position.
Thank you, Ms. Dela Cruz, for correcting me.
I'm
And
sorry.
it's important that we get it's important we get these things right. Item number 1021 is the permanent city clerk position. A quick recap of where we've been over the last 2 months. We lost our long-serving city council, city clerk, Mr. Maloney, who did an excellent job. He is retired. Our acting city clerk, Mr. Reyes, has since left us after a long service with the city, and we thank both for their services. We are now in need of a city clerk. The city council over the last few weeks has rewritten the job description and discussed it at length at the city council level. It is now down here. It is down a committee now to be heard and to talk about process and do whatever it is that either of you, as the voting members this evening, wish to do. Mr. Bonet is on vacation this week. He is unable to join us. And the materials remain the same as last week. So with that, I open the floor for discussion to Councilor Dela Cruz and Councilor Gonzalez.
Okay, Councilor Abdu.
Yes, ma'am.
I think that we shouldn't be rushing. I understand that we need a clerk. We need it today, but we can run to make this decision because it is one of the very important job in the city and it has a lot of responsibility. Then I would like to recommend to Mr. To Human Resource
Bonet?
that we should be choosing from the last 12 candidates that apply, that they can come to the personnel committee and that we follow the steps in place that Mr. Bonet has done. The last 12 for us to take home and discuss and think about it, and then to meet a couple of times before making final decision. Why? Because we do not want anybody who doesn't know the city or anybody who just gonna take the job because of the amount of money that they're gonna get paid. We need to narrow down from the 120 application to 20 to 12. For us to this, it should be 12 good candidates that will come to us, and then we will narrow down as much as we can, and then we are going to say that we favor a recommendation to the full council. But I do not want to rush in this decision. That person has a lot of responsibility. And even if they think that, oh my gosh, it's so easy money, it's not an easy money, it's a lot of responsibility. And I think that when they put the application, when they put the job online, they have to explain all the responsibilities that that person will encounter. And I hope that we can read the 12 and then narrow down to 5 and then narrow down to 1, like we have done before. Then maybe we need to send a letter to Mr. Bonet explaining what it is that we would like. I would like to have 12 candidates that we can then narrow down to 5, and then that we can use the service of Mr. Bonnet to work on the last 5. Thank you.
Thank you, Counselor. So, all right. I would ask, is there a response from Mr. Gonzalez? Do you have any comments on what was just stated?
Yes, sir. Correct me if I'm wrong. In the meeting we have Tuesday, Mr. Bonet had a 5-person, and I request to send 6. With all the
Yes.
respect with my colleague, De La Cruz, if she wants 12 down to 5, I don't have no problem. Just that I request from 5, that Mr. Bonet had a 5, and I say, what about one more? Can you send 6? And I think that's what we talk about Tuesday. But if it's a request to my colleague De La Cruz, the one 12, I don't have no problem.
Can I say something, Mr.
Yes.
Ledu? Okay, what
Yes.
I'm trying to do is, remember that right now what we have is applications. People are applying. At this moment, we have 100, maybe 200 applicants.
Mhm.
What I'm trying to say, from those applications to narrow down as much as possible. And yes, Mr. Gonzalez, we will have 5 or 6 that we will make a final decision, as we have done before, that we had to spend like maybe 5-6 hours discussing and voting and choosing the candidate. But we have to give the opportunity to the applicants that we read about 12 candidates that are good. And then we have to narrow down. To narrow down is not that easy, because we have to do the voting for each one of the candidates and for each one of the questions that they will have. Then it will take a lot of time. We did that with Attorney General, City Attorney, and it works. It works. The system that Mr. Bonet has in place.
No, that I don't have, like I say, I don't have no problem. Just that with the pandemic and all the stuff, I don't want to take a year to find a good person. If Mr. Bonet got 6 good people, they qualified for the job, I don't have no problem. If you want 12, but that's a lot of work, because I've been there. You know the experience I have. 12 people to interview is not easy job, but you want to do it, I'm ready to do it.
Okay, so so before we come to any conclusion on 12, as suggested by Councilor De La Cruz, or 6 by Councilor Gonzalez, we do have a meeting planned for Wednesday evening at 8 p.m. to continue to deal with this and, in theory, begin talking to candidates and interviewing. Is that acceptable to you, or do you want to figure out the number first?
I support my colleague De La Cruz. She wanted 12. I do the work.
Well, I would like to have the opportunity that if out of those 6 we are not satisfied, that we have another 6 that we can go back and pick and choose. Because if we just drop to 5 and we don't have a backup of other candidates, if those candidates doesn't have the qualifications needed, then I think it's gonna be more work. Well, but if we take 12, we narrow down and we go down, but it's up, we voted for 6. I remember that very clear. We voted for 6.
For 6.
So what we could do is, at the end of this discussion, and I'm just suggesting that we could have a motion to request for Wednesday night, if you're still agreeable to Wednesday night, that at 8 o'clock Wednesday night, that we begin inviting the 6 to come schedule the first 2 or 3 Wednesday night, and then we could schedule the remainder for a meeting yet to be determined. And if we're not happy, if we're collectively not happy, Councilor De La Cruz, Councilor Gonzalez, myself, and Councilor Reyes, and Stella Reyes, we could request the additional 6. Does that
Exactly.
sound acceptable? Does that sound acceptable to you, Councilor De La Cruz?
Yes,
Yes.
So we would go back. Okay, so we go back to Councilor Gonzalez's request for 6 last week. And I hear that you're okay with that, Councilor De La Cruz. And
Yep.
if Mr. Bonet was going to send us the best 6, if we're not happy after those 6, we can request the additional 6.
exactly.
So there wasn't a motion. I cannot make a motion. I would just suggest that a motion could be made, with sending correspondence to Mr. Bonet tomorrow to send 6 candidates for Wednesday evening, and maybe we schedule 2 for Wednesday night or 3 for Wednesday night. We are scheduled late because there is a committee before us. So the meeting would start at 8. So I don't know if you'd want to do 2 or 3 or 4. 4 could be a long night.
Let's do 2 for Wednesday.
Okay, so a motion can be made that we request 6 candidates and that we begin by scheduling 2 for Wednesday night. That could be a motion to send to Mr. Bonet in the morning.
Motion to send that information to Mr. Bonnet.
Second.
So there's a motion by Councilor De La Cruz. It's properly seconded by Mr. Gonzalez. And that motion is to request that Mr. Bonet send us the 6 names and resumes at his discretion after his screening and his expert consideration, and to schedule the first 2 random, any 2 of those 6, to begin scheduling those for Wednesday evening, the 27th at 8 p.m. Ms.
Yes.
Halloran, did you get all that?
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much. So the motion's been made, it's been seconded. Is there any discussion on the motion? Hearing none. Roll call vote. Councilor De La Cruz,
Yes.
and Councilor Gonzalez.
Yes.
The chair votes yes, and that is 3-0. So that is a motion made and approved. So on Wednesday night, I'll reach out to Mr. Bonet. He is on vacation. I will work tomorrow along with the city clerk's office to see if we can make contact with him. And if we cannot, we will figure it out, and I will communicate through the clerk's office to the committee where we're at for Wednesday night.
Mr.
Yes, Councilor De La Cruz.
Can we have a second date in case that we cannot meet tomorrow, Wednesday, that we can meet sometimes next week?
So I would be open to that. I certainly need to plan my schedule like everyone else. The challenge with doing it this evening is that next week is a meeting of the full council coming on the heels of Thursday's special. And with all due respect to Ms. Halloran, I think we need the city clerks, the acting city clerk, and the city council president to, well, you know what, Councilor De La Cruz, as I say this out loud, there would be no committee meetings next week. So yes, we could theoretically schedule a meeting next week for either Monday, Wednesday, or Thursday night, assuming that we could get the support from the city clerk's office.
Because this week we don't have in the build in working there. He's on vacation. Then we should and instead of meeting this Wednesday, why don't we meet the following Wednesday to give plenty time to Mr. Bonnet to contact?
We could do that. It would require us to make a further motion later in this conversation. So we would want to make a motion to cancel this Wednesday and schedule for next week. But keeping in mind the board last week, as well as your comments this evening, we do want to move expeditiously quickly here, and that would just delay us a few days. I'm fine with that. If that is the decision of this group here, we can postpone Wednesday and schedule for next week. I would note the chair is available Monday and Wednesday night only, as we have council on Tuesday night, and I have a prior engagement on Thursday. Certainly, it'd be okay if you met in my absence. Councilor Dela Cruz, I believe you're the vice chair. You could, you all can continue on Thursday.
We miss you. We're gonna do it when you're there.
Okay. So, if you're both available on Monday and Wednesday, I'm available both those evenings next week. In addition to Tuesday, our dance card's full on Tuesday night, as we have the full council meeting. So I leave that. I can't make a motion, but if you all choose to want to do that, you can cancel this Wednesday, and wait for Mr. Bonet to come back, which I think is fair to Mr. Bonet. You hate to bother somebody on their vacation.
Yes.
And we could schedule either Monday or Wednesday next week, or both. If you want to get aggressive, we could schedule both nights.
Motion to move the meeting for Monday the 29th.
There's a motion to cancel Wednesday evening, the 27th, and move it to Monday,
February. That's February.
February 1st.
Second.
Did I get that right, Councilor Dela Cruz?
Yes.
And Councilor Gonzalez properly seconded it. Discussion. I'll start with discussion from the chair. I'll make sure that Ms. Halloran got all of that.
Yes, I
Ms.
did.
Halloran, did you? Awesome, thank you. And did you want to just schedule that one at this time, Councilor Dela Cruz, and wait and see?
Just one
Or did you
Monday.
want to Monday the 1st? Did you also want to do Wednesday the 3rd? Or do you want to see how Monday the 1st goes?
Let's see how it goes first and how long it takes.
Okay.
We're only getting 2 candidates on Monday.
What time? Same time?
7 p.m. And I would note that will be that's the motion of this board, but it will be subject to the city council president and the city clerk as to the availability of the technological resources and the support staff necessary to run these meetings. Typically not a problem, but I would just note that that those are factors, making sure we have the support next Monday night, and making sure that Mr. Bonet is available, because Mr. Bonet is important, because he would want to introduce us to the names and the people and the process that he recommends.
Exactly.
Okay. Any further discussion?
No.
Hearing none, we'll take a roll call vote. And again, I would remind you that essentially this motion is to cancel the meeting scheduled for this Wednesday evening and reschedule it for Monday, February 1st at 8 p.m. at a time when Mr. Bonet and the first 2 candidates will be available. And roll call vote, Councilor Gonzalez
Yes.
and Councilor Dela Cruz.
Yes.
And the chair will vote yes. And so that's 3-0 to cancel this Wednesday, reschedule to Monday at 7 p.m. and with Mr. Bonet and the first 2 candidates.
Yes.
So is there any further business? We do have one other agenda item on the table. Well, so wait a second. We need to table, or we need to do something with agenda item number 1021 that remains on the floor. So one recommendation would be we table this matter until Monday, February 1st.
My recommendation is to table the matters for next Monday.
Second.
Is that in the form of a motion, Councilor Dela Cruz?
Yes.
Thank you. And it was properly seconded by Mr. Gonzalez. And there was no discussion on a tabled motion. So with that said, Roll call. Counselor Gonzalez,
Yes.
Counselor Dela Cruz,
Yes.
and the chair votes yes. That concludes our business this evening, new business this evening. Does anyone have any table matters they wish to discuss or a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
There is a motion to adjourn. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, hearing none, seeing no hands up. Roll call vote. Councilor Dela Cruz
Yes.
and Councilor Gonzalez.
Yes.
And the chair votes yes. We are now officially adjourned. I want to thank everyone at home, and I want to thank Ms. Halloran and the team behind the scenes for their help this evening. John, thank you, sir. Thank you, Maria. And Maria and George, thank you. George, welcome. And good night.
Good night.
Good night. Bye-bye.
And I'll see John tomorrow.
Yes.
Good night.